What power with y'all? I'm not gonna lie, I hope y'all had a blessed and prosperous day, man. It's currently February 10th at 10:59 p.m. Well, as y'all seen, it's 11 right now. I'm not gonna do too much talking. You already know how the routine go. 15 minutes on the clock. Let's go ahead and lock in, man. So picking up where we left off from yesterday, it says the president of a brush manufacturing company. Oh, by the way, we're currently in chapter 8, making your attitudes your allies, on page 176, going over to 177. So it says the president of a brush manufacturing company I visited recently had this maxim, and maxim, I looked it up. It means like greatest or least. So I guess he had a very large frame on his desk. Um, and it said recently I had this maxim neatly framed on his desk facing the visitor's chair. Give me a good word or none at all. I complimented him, saying that I thought the maxim was a clever way to encourage people to be optimistic. He smiled and said, "It is an effective reminder, but from where I sit, this is even more important." He turned the frame around so I could see it from the side of his desk. It said, "Give them a good word or none at all." Broadcasting good news activates you, makes you feel better. Broadcasting good news makes other people feel better too. Grow the "you are important" attitude. This is a fact of paramount significance. Every human being, whether he lives in India or Indianapolis, whether he's ignorant or brilliant, civilized or uncivilized, young or old, has the desire that he wants to feel important. Ponder on that. Everyone, your neighbor, you, your wife, your boss, has a natural desire to feel he is somebody. The desire to be important is man's strongest, most compelling, non biological hunger. Successful advertisers know that people crave prestige, distinction, recognition. Headlines that produce sales read like, "For smart young homemakers, persons with distinctive tastes use, you only want the best, be the envy of everyone." For women who want to be envied by women and admired by men, these headlines in effect tell people, buy this product and you put yourself in the important class. Satisfying the craving, the hunger to be important carries you forward to success. It is a basic equipment in your success tool chest. Yet, and read this sentence again before you go on, even though the attitude displaying "you are important" gets results, and even though it costs nothing, free persons use it, a little fill-in is needed there to show why. On the philosophical side, our religions, our laws, our entire culture are based on the beliefs of the importance of the individual. Suppose, for example, you were flying your own plane and you were forced down into an isolated mountain region. As soon as your accident was known, a large-scale search for you would begin. No one would ask that fellow important without knowing anything about you except you are a human being. Helicopters, other aircrafts, and search parties on foot will begin looking for you. And they will keep on looking for you, spending thousands of dollars in the process until they find you or until not one trace of hope remains. When a little child wanders off in the woods, falls into a well, or even gets into one of those another dangerous predicament, no one is concerned whether not the child comes from an important family. Every effort is made to rescue the child because every child is important. It's not too wild of a guess of all living creatures, probably not all, more than 1 in 10 million in a human being. A person is a biological rarity. He is important in God's scheme of things. Now let's look at the practical side. When most people shift their thinking from philosophical discussions to everyday situations, they tend to forget, unfortunately, their envy tower concepts of the importance of individuals. Tomorrow, take a good look at how most people exhibit an attitude that seems to say, "You are a nobody. You can't count for nothing. You mean nothing. Absolutely nothing to me." There's a reason why the "you are unimportant" attitude prevails. Most folks look at another person and think, he can't do anything for me, therefore he's not important. But right there is where people basic blunder. The other person, regardless of his status or his income, and for two giant dollars and cent Like, bro, his wordage in this is insane. It almost make you feel like you can't understand it, but I'm understanding them time and time as I'm reading. But his vocabulary is a little different. First, people do more for you when you make them feel important. Years ago in Detroit, I rode a certain bus to work each morning. The driver was an old grump. Dozens, maybe even hundreds of times I saw the driver pull away from the curb when a wildly waving, shouting, and running passenger was just a second or two from the door. Over a period of several months, I saw this driver show special courtesy to one passenger, and this passenger was shown special courtesy many times. The driver would wait for this passenger. But why? Because this passenger went out his way to make the driver feel important. Every morning, he greeted the driver with a personalized, sincere, "Good morning, sir." Sometimes this driver would sit near the driver and make little comments like, "You sure have a lot of responsibility. It must take nerves of steel to drive through traffic like this every day. You sure keep this thing on schedule." That passenger made the driver feel important as if he was piloting a 180 passenger jet airliner. The driver in return shows special courtesy to the passenger. It pays to make little people feel like big people. Today, in thousands of offices all over America, secretaries are helping salesmen make sales or lose sales depending on how the salesman has treated them. Make someone feel important, and he cares about you. And when he cares about you, he does more for you. Customers will buy more from you, employees will work harder for you, associates will go out their way to cooperate with you. Your boss will do more to help you if you will only make these people feel important. It pays to make big people feel even bigger. The bigger thinker always adds value to people by visualizing them at their best. Because he thinks about people, he gets their best out of them. Here's the second giant reason for making others feel important. When you help others feel important, you help yourself feel important too. One of the elevator operators who carried me up and down for several months had the look of complete unimportance written all over. She was feisty, unattractive, and certainly uninspired in her work. It was obvious that her longing to be important was completely unfulfilled. She was one of the millions of people who live for months at a time without being given a reason to believe that someone notices them or cares about them. One morning shortly after I became one of her regular upper and downers, I noticed that she had her hair redone. It was nothing fancy. It was obviously a homemade job, but it had been cut and it did look better. So I said, "Mrs. S." No, I just learned her name. "I do like what you've done to your hair. It really looks fine." She blushed and said, "Thank you, sir," and nearly missed her next stop. She appreciated the compliment. Next morning, lo and behold, when I stepped into the elevator, I heard, "Good morning, Mr. Schwartz, Dr. Schwartz." Not one time before I heard this operator address anyone by name, and in the remaining months that I had in the office in the building, I never heard anyone called by the name except me. I made the operator feel important. I had sincerely complimented her and called her by her name. I made her feel important, and now she was repaying me by making me feel important. Let's not kid ourselves. People who do not have a deep down feeling of self-importance are slated to mediocrity. Again and again to this point must be driven home. You must feel important to succeed. Helping others to important rewards you because it makes you feel important. Try it and see. Here's how to do it. Number 1, practice appreciation. Make it a rule to let others know you appreciate what they do for you. Never let anyone feel he is taken for granted. Practice appreciation with a warm, sincere smile. A smile lets others know you notice them and feel kindly towards them. Practice appreciating by letting others know how you depend on them. An earnest gem, "I don't know what we'd do without you" type of remark makes people feel necessary to do increasingly better work. Practice appreciation, personalized compliment. People thrive on compliments. Whether 2 or 20, 9 or 90, a person craves praise. He wants to be assured that he's doing a good job and that he is important. Don't feel like you should hand out praise only for big accomplishments. Compliment people on little things, their appearance, the way they do their routine work, their ideas, their loyal efforts. Praise by writing personal notes complimenting people you know on their achievements. Make a special phone call or a special trip to see them. Don't waste time or mental energy trying to classify as very important persons, or unimportant persons. Make no exceptions. A person, whether he is garbage collector or company vice president, is important to you. Treating someone as second class never gets you first class results. Remember, treating someone as second class never gets you first class results. Number 2, practice calling people by their names. Every year, Schwer manufacturers sell more briefcases, pencils, Bibles, and hundreds of items by just putting buyers' names on the product. People like to be called by name. It gives everyone a boost to be addressed by name. 2 special things you must remember. Pronounce the name correctly and spell it correctly. If you mispronounce or misspell someone's name, that person feels like he is unimportant. And here's one specific reminder. When talking with people you don't know well, add the appropriate Miss, Mr., or Mrs. Office boy prefers Mr. Jones to just Jones. So does your junior assistant. So do people at every level. These little titles help tremendously to make people feel important. Number 3, don't hog glory. Invest it instead. Just recently, I was a guest at an all-day sales convention. After dinner that evening, the vice president in charge of sales for the company passed out awards to the top 2 district managers, a man and a woman, whose sales organizations had attained the best records of the year just ended. Then the vice president asked those district managers to take 15 minutes to tell the entire group how their organizations did so exceptionally well. The first district manager, who I learned later from, had been appointed a manager only 3 months before he was therefore only partially responsible for his organization's record. Got up and explained how he did it. He conveyed the impression that his efforts alone caused the sales increase. Remarks such as, when I took over, I did such and such. Things were a mess, but I cleared them up. It wasn't easy, but I grabbed a hold of the situation and wouldn't let it go. Characterized his talk. As he talked, I could see the increasing resentment gathering in the faces of the salesmen. They were being ignored for the sales of the district manager's personal glory. They had hard work, which was responsible for the sales increase, was completely unrecognized. Then the second district manager got up to make her short talk, but this lady used an entire different approach. First, she explained that the reason of her organization's success was the wholehearted effort of her sales force. Then she asked each one of them to stand and paid a sincere personal compliment to each him and her efforts. Note this difference. The first manager squandered the vice president's praise entirely on himself. In doing so, he offended his own people. His sales force was demoralized. The second passed the praise onto her sales force where it could do more good. This manager knew that praise, like money, can be invested to pay dividends. She knew that the passing the credit onto her salespeople will make them work even harder next year. Remember, praise is power. Invest the praise you receive from your superior. Pass praise on down to your subordinates, where it will encourage them to still have a greater performance. When you share praise, your subordinates know you sincerely appreciate their value. Here's a daily exercise that pays off significantly well. Ask yourself every day, what can I do to make my wife and family happy? This may seem almost too simple, but it's amazingly effective. One evening, as part of a sales training program, I was discussing the building home environment of selling success. To illustrate a point, I had asked the salesman, who were all married, when was the last time, aside from Christmas, your wedding anniversary, or her birthday, that you surprised your wife with a special gift? Alright, we're going to stop the timer here, bro. Hope y'all like that read. We're going to continue on page 184. And we're going to start with, even I was shocked at the answers. It's on page 184 in chapter 8. So y'all stay blessed. Y'all stay encouraged, man. I'm going to get over with y'all later.